Chris can help us out there with that, I think.
That's true. That's true. Chris is our line for the horses. Of course, he's got the war horses, and I don't know how I have a feeling they would just cause chaos at a horse race. I just knocking everybody over.
They're very poor losers. Let's put it that way. They're...
All right, everybody. Hello. Welcome to the community call takeover of the Microsoft 365 and Power Platform community call. Wow! All right, so I'm Chris, and we're doing this. It's really a summer bonanza. I don't know why David keeps calling it a community call takeover. Summer bonanza is so much catchier. Today we've got all sorts of updates for you on everything going on. We've got the latest news about Microsoft logs in the group picture with together mode. Ooh, look pretty. Get your cameras ready. Fix your hair. Get a hat on, whatever you got to do. And then we've got some lovely demos. First up, we got Reshmee and Lee, and they're going to be showing off their SharePoint Hackathon entry. And then we've got Shrushti also with a SharePoint Hackathon entry. So this should be very exciting times, and let's get to it. So if you are not aware, you're about to be, that we have all sorts of stuff for you all across the community. So we've got a YouTube channel where things like this call will be recorded and saved off, and all the individual demos were there, so you can share it with your colleagues that were too lazy to join. Or, if you want to go back over it and actually figure out what you're doing, that'd be great. And then, of course, we have our LinkedIn group if you are a professional and want to do professional type things. We also have a Discord group if you are a professional and want to do non-professional type things. Either one's fine. Love to have you there, have a discussion. You can share resources that you're working on, anything along those lines. And then, of course, we have a ton of repos divided across tools and samples. We've got, a few thousand samples all across Power Platform and SharePoint Framework and list formatting, and even some Copilot stuff in there. Woohoo! That was fun. I went on hold for a moment. Just taking other calls. All right. But if you want to find all of that, you can go to that aka.ms/community/home, and you can find everything, or you can just go to community.ms. That is a URL all by itself. Ooh, fancy. And, of course, check us out on Blue Sky and the X or whatever else we're around. Okay. And on this one, the Microsoft 365 and Power Platform call. During the summer months, we're going to be doing this all in the community with community-based demos. So, the summer bonanza's here. And, of course, join all these other calls. You can find links to join those calls or add them to your calendar there. And those work across time zones. We're very fancy. All right. And, of course, if you would like to be one of the presenters on this call, please fill this out. We would love to have you. Anything from getting started to the most elaborate thing in the whole world is all welcome. The idea is just show off cool stuff you're building. Either, do you want to get in depth on the code, or you want to just talk about the overall process. All of that is helpful, and we would love to hear from you, and we're happy to walk you through it. If you're nervous about presenting, we can work with your slides or give you tips. David's got sound effects, so that's exciting. All right, and of course, we have this right here. If you go to learn.microsoft.com, we've got some getting started assets for the Microsoft Cloud. Right, so there's 99 Learn modules available for the 365 development, and there's 122 on Power Platform. What? We got to get 24 more over on the M365 side. Got to win. Very important. All right. And, of course, let's talk about some samples here. So we've got a Microsoft 365 and Power Platform sample gallery, 2,400 samples. So if you haven't used this yet, this is a great way to find samples across all sorts of things. A really cool browser, so please sure to check that out at the aka.ms/community/samples. And David, tell us all about this.
Yes, Sharing is Caring, friends, has been alive and well. We just had one last week. It is your hands-on access to contributions, whether that is you wanting to use the samples or you wanting to contribute back with new samples or update existing samples. All that's okay, but we understand that GitHub can be a confusing labyrinth of confusion. Confusing labyrinth of confusion. Yes, that is right, and that's what GitHub does to you. It makes you just talk in circles, but we will demystify it. These sessions are live. They're hands-on. They are safe space, which means that we do not record any of them, so you're free to ask any and all questions without that fear of, well, no one else is asking the question. Is it a stupid question? Maybe I shouldn't ask the question. Maybe everybody already knows the answer to the question, so I don't want to ask the question. And then you never learn. But we want you to learn. We want to learn together. So come join. We're going to have another one scheduled here soon, getting with Todd and Stephanie, and we're going to figure out what dates here in July, because July 1st is here, and we're going to talk all about that. So keep an eye out at ak.ms/sharingiscaring. We'll get the next one scheduled, and it could be your opportunity to contribute. And then once you do contribute, we want to recognize all the amazing work that you are doing via our recognition program powered by Credly. This is considered a best in class. If you stay on that presentation window there, Chris, the animations will continue. There we go. And you can be recognized for the amazing work that you're doing with some of our incredible badges. These have been so incredible because of all the work that you all are doing that Credly is doing a best in class case study. We just wrapped up our Star Wars and we're getting ready to start superhero season, the Porcupine Rises. And so we've got 4 new badges. This is a bonus badge. They're lots of fun, but they are real. They are accredited. They show that you're making a difference. And why does that matter? Because you want that next raise. You want that next client. And these are providing the credibility that you are going the extra mile and that you are helping lead the community to new eras of technology. So we really appreciate it. ak.ms/community/recognition. We do need you to opt in. It is absolutely no cost, but we do need you to opt in so that we can kind of match up who we are sending the badges to the GitHub accounts. Chris, back to you.
All right, so TechCon 365. So Seattle just happened. Done. Great job. And of course, we've got a couple upcoming ones here, Atlanta and Dallas. Guess we want you to go to those to do that. All right. And then, of course, there's the Power Platform Community Conference also coming up in the end of October. And, of course, there's a bunch of workshops and all sorts of stuff. David, I assume you're going to be there, David?
Huh? Yep, I will be there. Yep.
Wowee. So come meet David in person. Punch him in the face. Give him a pat on the back. You can decide. All right. And then, of course, we also want you to save the date for Microsoft Ignite. All right. So if you're looking to get involved in some of that, there'll be a lot of fun and exciting announcements. Ooh. And then, of course, we have ESPC in Dublin 25 in December. So that is over there at the SharePointEurope.com. So check that out. Look at this guy. Hey, buddy. All right. That was unimportant. All right. Of course, ECS also in Europe. So in Cologne, Germany next May. So be sure to check that out, ecs.events, all sorts of exciting things there. And then, of course, there's a ton of community events as well. So we want to make sure to check a look at these. Check a look? Yeah, check a look at these. That's the right phrase. All sorts of really exciting ones. Not this one. New York is over. Congratulations to New York. But coming up, we've got the TechCon again in Atlanta. And, of course, the North American Cloud Summit in Branson. Whack again. And then even more coming after that. Wow. The community keeps going. Exciting. Summer bonanza. All right. And, of course, we want to talk about our Copilot prompt library. So if you've got a cool agent instruction or something else you've come up with that you'd like to share, please do so. There are lots of us that just stare at that blank chat box and we cry. We don't know what to do. So if you've got prompts that have already been kind of vetted out and are working, please share those with us. And if you're looking for inspiration, please over to that aka.ms/pnp-prompt-library. And, of course, we have our system prompt of the week. So this is the elevator pitch alchemist. Ooh. So it turns any half-baked thought into a 90-second pitch. So pretty exciting stuff. So thank you very much, Andre. Yes, indeed. And you too could be featured. All right, David, let's take some photos.
Yes, let's get those cameras turned on, everyone. And I will share my screen here so that we can see those fantastic faces inside of Together Mode. All right, I see Todd already showing up. See some folks. Excellent. There's Reshmee and Don. Excellent. We'll give everybody, we're doing good on time. And we only have 2 demos today, so we got plenty of time. So we can let teams take its time. I can only stay till midnight on Friday of July 2027. Okay, all right, let's give it a couple more seconds. That kind of didn't work, right? My joke didn't work. All right, if you want to get those cameras turned on, we still have just a little bit more time, and I would love to see all those smiles. Todd's drinking the coffee, getting ready for his caffeine-induced waving to the community. All right. Let's do the countdown, everybody. 3, 2, 1. All right, great. I see some popping in there. Great to see you all. Great to see you all so much. We really appreciate the efforts. We know that you got to take time out of your day and week to be here. So we really appreciate you supporting all of our presenters and our community. Really would not be possible without you. So we'll get that captured and shared out onto the social webs. And Chris, take on back over the screen and introduce them.
Wowee. All right, let me do that. Very important. All right, so Reshmee and Lee, if you are ready, you can actually go ahead and take over the screen because it is demo time.
You just give me a heads up. You can see my screen.
Yep, sure can.
Yeah, okay, all right. Okay, thank you very much for having us. So today I'm going to talk about our SharePoint Hackathon entry, which we did a few months back, I think back in March, Mental First Aid Agent. And I'm joined today.
Oh, hello.
Oh, Reshmee, you got muted somehow.
Yeah, you're muted.
Okay. So, okay. Yeah. Okay. So
Muted again.
I'm doing that. I'm pressing on something. Okay, I'll just use my keyboard. Sorry. Okay. Okay. So I'm Reshmee Auckloo, work consultant at Avanade and currently MVP in Enterprise Development. And these are my social handles. And if you want to reach out to me, do reach out on today's topic or anything that I normally post on LinkedIn mainly, and Blue Sky and GitHub.
You muted again. Sorry. Oh,
I'm
you're
not
back.
so sure what's.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So my name is Lee. Now I'm muted. I swear someone's doing that on purpose. Yeah. So I'm a developer. I also sort of an MVP in development. And you can mainly follow me on Blue Sky. I put my code on GitHub, and sometimes I'm on LinkedIn, but not that often.
So the agenda, I'll just go quickly through what is the agent and followed by a demo with Lee and some of our thoughts about how to improve it further. So working like for amazing organizations, we've created like a wealth of information which is embedded in documents which sit in across various SharePoint libraries. And the way that we surface it is through links on SharePoint pages, which make it a little bit harder for user to find out any particular support that we might get from their organization, especially related to mental health. So there's a study which has been done in the UK. There's a QR code if you want to read more about the study. There's a culture of silence which still surrounds mental health, and 6 in 10 are uncomfortable discussing mental health. And if people feel more valued, they'll feel more open, and they will try to get the help needed, and all to make like a happier workplace. So the idea behind the agent was to provide like a virtual mental first aider, which can assist others like using like the natural language instructions. And the solution is very simple. It's just an agent grounded with data from a SharePoint library. And we're using like the system instructions like to guide the behavior. And one thing, mental health is a sensitive topic, and we'd like to apologize if inadvertently we use certain terms which might cause you upset. Yeah, and one thing I would like to highlight is like trying like to build that agent. It was a very fine line not to trigger the responsible AI issues, because as soon as you put some harmful terminology like within the agent, it gets blocked. You can't use it. So we kind of come like to a halfway where we could still use the agent to provide the assistance required, like to the user, as Lee will show very soon. So now let's go on with the demo.
Okay, let me share my screen. I noticed on that AI image that was generated on that previous slide, someone had one leg, but let's not worry about that. Yeah, so this is the Mental First Aiders site. And as Reshmee said, we're not really, it's not the most technical solution here. It's more around inspiring or kind of showing you what's possible with an agent rather than kind of some deep technical prowess that we've decided to show today. So So what we have is a site. We've got some obviously sort of content on what the purpose of the site is and what it offers. We've added a hero card web part in here, so we can kind of just quickly show at a glance what sort of services we offer. And then also we have we've actually embedded the agent directly into the page, and the reason for this is that it's kind of hidden all the way up here if we want to use Copilot, which, you know, in my opinion, it should be actually this should be somewhere in the site rather than kind of in the SharePoint part, but that's, you know, that's me. And then finally, we've just added some extra sort of context, and, you know, you could potentially link these out to further parts of the site if we kind of expanded it out further. So how do we sort of access the first aider? We can type directly in here, or we can go via Copilot. And in here we have an agent. Now, as Reshmee said, we're not using the sort of built-in agent, which is this one. We've built our own, and the reason for that is that because it's quite a sensitive topic that we're talking about, we were constantly hitting responsible AI when we were asking, you know, for help effectively. So by creating our own with our own instructions, and we kind of not necessarily bypassed it, but it allows us to actually tackle sensitive topics rather than everything being blocked like it was previously. So so I've got a couple of, obviously we've got some conversation starters in here, but I've got a couple that I'm going to just copy and paste to speed it up. Now, one thing to bear in mind, I think Reshmee's already said, obviously this is demonstration purposes. We're not offering any advice. Anything that does come up, it's purely, you know, just for the demo. Don't take it as advice or anything. So just want to caveat that. And even in the agent, we also say, obviously, you know, if you're having serious thoughts, then you need to obviously speak to someone directly. Don't use this tool. And this isn't offering any advice directly. It's more pointing you in the right direction, or leading you towards some help that would actually obviously assist you. So what we have is an agent. So if I'm just going to put in a prompt here. So I don't have a gambling addiction, but for purposes of the demo, we're going to say I do. And now hopefully it's going to find something. Yep. Okay, cool. So I have a gambling addiction. Can I help? Who can I talk to? And what it's done is it's gone through and it's found people that either have had a similar scenario, or they've been trained in a particular way to help people through that. And what happens is these are people, you know, in this sort of fictitious organization that we've created, that we can then reach out to and speak to them. And obviously we can, you know, say, oh, oh, how do I contact so-and-so? And obviously it might bring back their email address and everything like that. The second part is, obviously we've also grounded some sort of people that you can call externally. So people obviously like Samaritans. This is obviously a UK-centric thing, but the idea here is that it allows people to sort of get all the information in a single place. And then also we've provided some links to some content that you can go and read on external websites. Now, these are all stored inside Word documents inside the site. I'm just going to show one more, just to kind of continue the conversation on around stress. And what it allows you to do is obviously go and talk about different topics. And also, actually, if this works properly, not just say, oh, go speak to these people, but it actually also provides some help on things you can try. Like I say, it's not direct medical advice. It's more just, you know, make sure, taking regular breaks, or make sure you're getting enough sleep, those sort of things. But then obviously, second part is then reaching out to people within your organization, and these people are obviously listed in a document. So that's kind of just the agent in a nutshell. As far as how it is sort of put together, we have a load of documents that we've generated. Largely, I think some of them we maybe have done by hand, but the majority of them have kind of we've kind of made up, really, I guess. And so, for example, the mental first aiders, obviously these aren't real people. These are just people that we've have been trained within this organization, and I can offer potentially advice, or at least help them along the sort of path to getting help from external party. So how does that work sort of from an agent point of view? So obviously we've got these documents. We go back to the agent and edit the agent. In here you'll see that it's a pretty straightforward process. Obviously we've got a very basic description of what the purpose of the agent is. It's a mental health first aider, and it's based on the content that we've selected. And in this case, we've just set the whole site because all the content in the site is helpful and does provide context. Obviously, you could scope that down if you wanted, but for now, that works quite well. And then from a behavior point of view, obviously what we're trying to, very important, obviously the welcome message needs to include, this isn't direct medical advice. You obviously, speak to a medical professional, if you need to. And then from an instructions point of view, we've kind of outlined every single step that we want to do. And this, took a very long time to get it right, so that it was not triggering responsible AI, but was able to provide help to or resources, I guess, to the individual that's obviously asking for help. So it's things like making sure we're not kind of prescribing this is what you need to do, or that isn't a problem. You don't need to worry about this. And it was making sure everything we offer, it's like, well, talk to someone. It's not just talk to someone. It's talk to these people or call these helplines, and not to kind of leave people sort of hanging, I guess. And obviously, yeah, what we're trying to do here is not ask for names, not ask for any more detail on the scenario. So don't say, oh, tell me more. It's more, okay, cool. I don't need to know the specifics, but if you speak to this person, they might be able to help you. And I think that's it from a demo perspective, Reshmee. So I'll pass back to you.
Thank you very much. I think one of the things that we share my screen. One of the things that we really wanted to do is to be able to make that SharePoint agent a little bit more visible across the page, so that like some of the websites where you go, you have like a floating speech bubbles which kind of scroll up and down wherever you are, like in context of the page. And I've seen like some of the SharePoint hackathon entries, some of them try like to explore like different ways of embedding Copilot within the SharePoint page using SPFX. Hopefully they will come onto that call to present the solution at some point. Yeah, so that was kind of the idea, but we didn't really spend too much time, but I saw like some of the entries which are amazing, and I thought like, yeah, or it could be like a future improvement, like to make a SharePoint agent better in the future within the platform. And the other one was about the responsible AI settings. The only way was to use the Azure AI Foundry agent, like possibly use a custom engine so that you can tailor these topics around harm, self-harm, responsible AI, so that it makes it so it doesn't get triggered, these responsible AI get triggered. But that will be like something in the future. And the other thing I would like to mention is currently the SharePoint agent is only for retrieval. But again, now that you can publish a Copilot Studio agent into SharePoint, that kind of opens up a lot of possibilities, including like it to do certain actions. For example, as Lee showed, if you're presented with a list of first mental health first aiders, you can potentially book an appointment with one of them. Could be one of the action, and the other one could be if the end user wants like to send the query or book an appointment. We could do it by email, so it's obviously it's kind of book an appointment in the background. So it's just like things which can be improved. And to finish off, I would say, yeah, like currently, like most workplaces are focusing mainly on productivity, resilience, efficiency. But I would say it's still important, like to make space, like for vulnerability and healing, and one thing like to remember just to look to each other and make sure like they are reaching out for support if there's a need. That's all from me. If I'm listening.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. That was an awesome demo, a very important topic, and a really interesting way to solve that. So really greatly appreciate that. And in fact, we'd love to see more things like that on this call. So please, again, offer to present. We would love to see more of these types of things. And speaking of presenting, we've got our next demo. Shrushti is also a SharePoint Hackathon entry. And if you are ready, you can feel free to take over the screen and take it away.
Hey, thank you so much, Chris. I really like the idea presented by Reshmee and Lee. Really nice use case. Looking forward to see more such use cases coming from our community. It's not always about efficiency and productivity, our mental health topic. Really appreciate Reshmee and Lee for sharing. Let me just quickly share my screen. And just like our community team buddies, I also don't have more content to show, but let me know once you can see my screen.
We sure can. Thank you.
Okay, so again, I participated in the SharePoint Hackathon, where the use case was pretty different than what Reshmee presented. Here, I tried to leverage whatever is possible with respect to SharePoint agents. So I thought, why not let's dive into one line of business, which is insurance industry, wherein how the organizational people working in insurance will be able to leverage agents where most of the knowledge is residing in SharePoint. And why not leverage SharePoint agents rather than building something on top of Copilot and adding knowledge from SharePoint? So just that topic invaded in me and my teammate Bhushan. We just start evaluating that how this can be best fit in SharePoint while also extending it to Copilot Studio. As mentioned, there are a lot of things which can be done in Copilot Studio, the customizations, configurations, but keeping the scope specifically to SharePoint, as majority of the documentations lies in SharePoint. We try to build something in SharePoint agent. So again, building a SharePoint agent for Hackathon. And before I move on, I am Shrushti, working at Rapid Circle as senior consultant and also Microsoft MVP. So my problem statement was pretty simple, which I was trying to solve. So before I go to the solution which I have built, quick glimpse on SharePoint agents. Like SharePoint agents are basically assistant, which are part of your SharePoint ecosystem. So you go to the SharePoint site, you'll see a Copilot, which Copilot is said as SharePoint agents, wherein you can that agent is specifically scoped to your knowledge from the SharePoint site, and you can go start typing in your natural language, and you can ask any queries. If that knowledge resides in that SharePoint site, you can quickly find that info within your fingertips. I mean, within few seconds. And also, important thing to understand here is if you have access to that SharePoint document library list or SharePoint pages, the content, if you have the right permissions, only then you'll be able to fetch the information which you're looking forward to. While there are two types of agents, one which are built-in, so you can leverage all the built-in agents. You can start typing in query. You can start utilizing it across your SharePoint like lists or libraries. While the one which I am dealing with today is the custom one, wherein I have added separate instructions. I am adding the knowledge which I want to add, and then a lot more customizations in terms of restrictions, providing in the instructions stating that okay, you are only supposed to provide information from this library, and you are only supposed to answer queries on such information, not all. So this is just a quick summary on SharePoint agent. Now, majority of the times whenever I talk about SharePoint agent, this is the query which we almost get. I'm not a licensing person, but I always try to provide the information so that whoever tries to use SharePoint agents or any kind of Copilot or assistant, they also are aware about the licenses and then in their subscriptions. So first thing, to interact with SharePoint agents. So for example, let's say I am into the SharePoint site. I want to interact with the SharePoint agent which is built. I need a M365 Copilot license, or a pay-as-you-go service should be enabled by organization. Any of these things work. Also, to edit a SharePoint agent, you need the edit permissions, as in the agent should be shared with you so that with the correct permission so that you can go and edit. So these are the three pieces which you can keep in mind while you are using SharePoint agents or playing with SharePoint agent, updating it, any of those things. Now the problem statement. In the insurance industry, specifically when you talk about insurance, there are two terminologies like policies. Many of us have policies. We are the policy holder, be it health, be it car, be it automobile, any of the artifacts or assets, you can say, and you would have a policy for that. And the other is claims. So whenever you have a policy, you also have a claim. Claim means, for example, if something goes wrong with my health and I'm admitted to any of the hospitalization sector, maybe I would want to reimburse that claim. And for reimbursing, there is a process which states, which comes with that policy. So for example, let's say I'm not keeping well and I was hospitalized for 2 days, and now I have to raise a claim because I had already policy for that, and my policy will have all the details. For example, why was I ill? The reason of my illness. Maybe your policy has all those different classifications where it is mentioned that for illness, these are the illness which it covers. These are the illness which I have not paid for. My policy doesn't cover, and my past claim records, my claim total amount, my claim remaining amount, all those things are dealt when it comes to the claim industry. Now I have all these details, but apart from these details, there is also a set of verifications which goes through. So for example, whenever a claim request is submitted, there are different level of verifications. Maybe if I have an active policy or not, if I have the coverage of that particular illness, which is covered in my policy. And then the compliance, legal checks, apart from the things which I share, for example, my records, my receipts, all those things. Along with the policy details also plays an important role whenever a claim has to be issued. And then the workflow, we all know, whenever we submit a claim request, maybe that claim can be part of policy or any claim request, probably reimbursement. Now there is a huge time gap wherein you submit the request, you are waiting, but you're not sure why you're waiting for so long. Maybe is there something wrong? Maybe some details are missing for you to submit. So all those, all those time gap can keep on increasing, and the claim amount or the claim approval, maybe it gets approved or it gets rejected. You don't know. By the time, probably it's a month, and still you are waiting for your claim to be processed. So I'm talking about such a cumbersome industry where you're dealing with a lot of things. Even the people working in the organization has to perform all these checks before they go ahead and start approving the claims, start looking at your policies. Now what I did is I just tried to address this gap into a SharePoint agent. So this is just a quick summary of what my solution does. It shows me the claim details, policy details, the incident details, along with the coverage of what all my policy covers, and if there are any follow-ups required. For example, if there are something which is missing, for example, I missed providing some details as a claim insurer, I missed those details. So me working in the organization, I can quickly understand by taking a look at the summary of what I have at my screen that, hey, Shrushti has not submitted these details and she has to do that so that I can go and approve her claim. All these things I tried to address with SharePoint agent. So now let me go to the agent. So this is what my agent looks like. Now, this is very simple and small. I'm targeting to build something huge with Copilot Studio, taking it further, but keeping a small scope only for SharePoint agent. If you can see, let me just zoom a bit. Okay. So this is just a SharePoint site, and I have a document library which specifically calls out insurance claim. Now, if you look at the claim records which I have received, maybe whenever I have an automation which states whenever a claim is received, I have a file which gets stored in the document library. This is done by the Power Automate flow. Once this is done, if you also look at the extractions, which I'm trying to map out, this is done by the model. So the policy number, premium number, the status of the model, whether it is done extracting the details or not. This is just syntax, the earlier syntax which we used to call. The claim ID, and there are few more details which I am passing, the content type, the policy premium. This is the important detail, the amount and the policy number and the claim. Only 3 key information which I'm trying to fetch. And how I'm doing that, it is just by using the model. and I've created the extractors, which are like policy number, policy premium amount, claim ID, so that it goes to the file, it tries to fetch that exact information from that file, and then it tries to map it to the content types of the document library. And as you can see, I've already done with the set of training data, which is just the claim data with some of the users. And then I'm attaching it to the library, which is the insurance claim details, which you are exactly seeing right here. Once I'm done doing that, definitely this helps me. I can see that, okay, this is the policy number, these are the claim, and this is the amount. But me working in the insurance industry, I am taking care of the approvals of the claim, whichever is requested right here. It just this much amount doesn't help me out. I need more details. Hence, the agent comes into the picture. Now, this is the claim advisor agent. Now, if I edit this agent, the purpose of the agent is pretty simple. It is a co-pilot. It has to generate the concise summary of whatever queries I ask. Probably if in the instructions I have mentioned to provide in the tabular format and in the structure format so that it is easy and readable. I don't have to read paragraphs. Sources is just simple, only one document library, the claim document library, and this is automated because whenever anyone submits a claim, the file gets created in this particular library. So hence only intended to work with this library. Behavior is very important. This is where the agent, the game changer of the whole SharePoint agent is the instructions and in the behavior. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to write a descriptive instructions here. And if I copy this so that it is readable for everyone, and if I open in the Word format, yeah. So if you see what I'm trying to do is, hey, you are a claim advisor, co-pilot. You need to generate structured summary with key points. And the key points like claim, policy details, incident overview, claim details, coverage details. And if there are any interactive follow-up, the follow-up queries, it should already mention in the messages which I receive. For example, do I need more info? Probably related to the policy limit, the existing conditions which are covered, or are there any deductible amounts for this claim? Such kind of examples which I'm providing so that it can train and start asking me follow-up questions, which might be useful for me, or maybe I might be missing when I'm working with a lot of claims and policies. And the output format should be a summary in the structured format. Also, if possible, a bullet or table and feedback and improvements. So the agent should always learn from the user. For example, if I type in, hey, this was helpful, but you could also have sent me the more details, so that it always learns. It gets trained and learned at the same time. And the co-pilot only should answer queries related to the insurance and claim. No other info it should answer about. So let me go and start querying in. Now what I'll do is I have already tested this quite a number of times, but I'll just quickly say, are there any policy for travel purpose? Let me just hit enter. This is very vague prompt. Trust me, I wouldn't draft such prompt, but just this thing came to my mind, and maybe let's see how it responds. So if you see, it mentions, yes, there is a confirmed travel insurance policy and also the name for Arjun. And here is it detailed, just like how I've mentioned in my instructions, that this is the policy number, the policy type, the insurance provider, the incident overview. So I know, okay, now this was the incident for which the person, Arjun, has raised the claim. This is the claim details. He's asking for a claim of amount 20,000. The status is already approved, and the policy coverage terms. And if you also see below, it says, would you like to explore trip cancellation, coverage, deductibles, or policy limit? The statement which you are seeing here is because I have added in the instruction that always try to add your follow-up query. So now if I add a follow-up saying that I want to look at the coverage and deductibles. And I'm not mentioning the persona, whether it was for Arjun, for any of the other person, but let's see how SharePoint agent behaves. I am here. it still is taking the context of Arjun, which is good. And it is saying that I had this coverage summary for baggage, for medical, for trip, for worldwide coverage. I have all these in my policy. Exclusions are mentioned, deductibles are also mentioned. This is pretty good. I don't have to look at the detailed documentation and no more. I'll read the whole 5 to 10 pager policy for me to take a glance. I already have that information in my hand, and I can straight away go and start working on it further, because I know that this person has all this covered, and what are the exclusions, what are the deductibles, and the claim processing, everything I have in my hand. Now, another thing, for example, all these personas, maybe I am working in the industry, I'm working in the same organization, but I can't access the personal information like passport number or maybe the address. Okay, I can only look at, I'm working in a persona wherein I can only look at the checks. As I mentioned, few validations which I'm performing. If all those are good, I'm going to say yes. And this is going to be taken care by the higher upper head. That person is going to take a look at the brief summary, whatever I provide, and also he has a brief summary of the policy, the person, the details. He can take a look at the passport, the credit card, all those details, whatever has been provided, if there are any. Now, let's say, can you share me the passport number? Let's see if it answers. Ideally, if the instructions were created in such a manner that, okay, this particular agent should never reveal the personal information, be it passport number, be it address, or any kind of contact information apart from email IDs. So if you look out, it states that I can't, because I don't have that information in my document. Given if I would have any, I should restrict that if this persona should not see that information. That you can do that straight away by putting in the instructions. But right now, because this agent is specifically built for insurance and I am the one who's going to approve, reject, I should have the whole view of the policy, the claim, and the data, so that I can validate whether this is authenticated person, the verified person. After all the validations, yes, I can go and straight away look at it. But if I shouldn't, then I can write that instruction that, hey, don't reveal the personal information, no matter that information might be in the file, but that file also has the information which is not correct and it is masked information. Hence, don't ever reveal that information to the user who is going to use this agent. That is where the agents come into the picture, wherein whoever is using the agent, but the instructions are amended, wherein the instructions is doing their part of not revealing the information at all. Even if I go now to the file, now I can show you the file, how the information looks like. This for Arav, the person. And if you see, I have the details like policy details, the claim details, and the policy coverage, the claim processes, the payment, all these details. Now I don't have to look at, even I am someone who is not aware about, okay, what these things are. I can just straight away go to my agent, and this info, what I see here, is very readable. I can understand the coverage and everything, and then I can quickly validate things are fine or not, and then I can give a go and done. As mentioned, this agent is only doing the job of retrieval. Only retrieving is done yet. So now if I go and edit my agent again, I can't perform any tasks. Even if I want to say that, okay, I approve, and you go and update this approval into this library in the another content type in the column, it won't do that because I can't do that yet. If you can see, that is still in coming soon, and I'm exploring that in the Copilot Studio. So if I would have done the same thing in Copilot Studio, it would have been very easy, and I can pass multiple libraries, and I could also have created multiple agent, wherein one agent is just for a domain where they don't have access to personal information and they can just validate the claim and policy, while the other agent is for a persona wherein that person has the high level access. And even whenever I approve, straight away the claims gets approved and the email gets sent out to that person saying that your claim is approved. So this is still yet not possible in SharePoint agent, but from SharePoint agent, I can still do a lot of whole things, which is retrieval. And the retrieval is also simple because if you look at the output format, it's really looking good. And now maybe if I want to just quickly ask another query, help me with the business travel policies for all the policy holders. And let's see it in action. Oh, what happened? Don't tell me. I prayed to demo gods already. Let me create a new chat. At times this is not good. See, working on my request. Okay, it's fetching. Oh, my bad. So now, if you observed, there are different agents which I've created, and it just went to the classic agent, our Copilot in SharePoint, and it wasn't able to fetch that information correctly. It did mention that I had some policy, but the information was not relevant for me. And because of the instructions which I've added specifically, it is able to provide me that information in the structured format, just like how I want. And it is providing me details. And let's see. Okay, it is telling me that, hey, there is a business travel policy, but only for Arjun, while there are a few other policy holders, but these are specifically for health, for auto insurance, and some other life insurances, because it's a mixed insurance claim. It is not just specific to business, but it was able to provide me the information just like how I want. So this is the difference between the Copilot which we get and the Copilot, the agent, custom agent which you build, but the differentiating factor here is the instructions, the way in which you provide. So as you can see, I did not do anything more. Now I can straight away also leverage this agent. I can copy that link and I can pass it on to my team members, where I am having a discussion in my team group chat that, hey, this person I validated, can you go ahead and send out an email? Or maybe I can ask my stakeholder who is going to approve that, hey, I validated, please go ahead and check from your end, and then just pass on the claim. So this I can do just by copying that link, going to the teams, pasting in the chat, done. I'm good. But you would say, okay, can everyone interact? Only those who have access to the agent. So here you need to go and share the agents as well. So if you see, all these personas will be able to go and start interacting with the agent. Those who don't have, those who aren't shared, or those whom I haven't shared this agent with, they'll not be able to go ahead and start interacting with the agent. They can't do that unless I share with them explicitly. So you need to manage the access of agents similarly how you manage access to your libraries, lists, and then you're done. All good. And this covers my demo. But I'll come back again sometime and show a full-blown demo with Copilot Studio just in the time when I'm ready. And there, probably I'll show multi-agent orchestration, probably not just simple retrieval, but also with all the full-blown tasks sometime soon. So that's it from my end. But before I go on, let me just present this. And I'll also want to show how this retrieval also helps. It is not just always about efficiency, I know, but agents also helps. Just like how you saw the pre-built one was not able to fetch the information just like how I wanted, though I was having access in all libraries list, but it wasn't able to provide me the information about claim details, like what is the policy start date, is the policy active, what are the coverages. That information was not very readable, and it wasn't able to fetch that as well. So hence the custom agent came into the picture, wherein it provided me the info in a summarized format. So these factors which I've mentioned, like it saves some time, it allows me to look everything in one place rather than me looking up in different libraries, different places. It helps, right? And also manually, if we are doing it manually, I can go and maybe I can mismatch the details as well. While here, you can be rest assured, because everything is done by agent. So it is going to perform whatever instructions you are providing, and it looks at your info. It retrieves exact information without you missing out anything. So that covers my topic for today, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for listening to me so patiently, and thanks a lot for having me. Maybe I'll stop sharing my screen.
Awesome. Thank you so much. An excellent demo. Really appreciate it. Again, these are some SharePoint Hackathon entries, so really appreciate you participating in that and everything else and sharing it here with us as well. So let's go over and take a look. So make sure to join us next week on the 8th of July. That's next Tuesday for another one of these summer bonanza calls on the Microsoft 365 and Power Platform. Woo! We got 3 exciting demos, including at least one more SharePoint Hackathon entry. So wowee! And then, of course, we want to encourage you to join our Discord server. So if you haven't had a chance yet, come on over here. Ooh, it's 2,900 plus members. Last week it was 2,800 plus. So that's pretty exciting. So 100 new people have joined us, or we just updated that number. I don't know. Either way, it's wonderful news. But if you haven't come over here, we've got all sorts of great stuff here. So if you want to continue the conversations we've been having in chat, anytime here, you can tag people like David, specifically tag him. I think that's important. But over here, we have all our blogs in here. We've got specific channels for all sorts of different things, and the samples are surfaced. There's also a dedicated server just for the CLI, and you'll find a link for that in there as well. All right, and if you would like to give us some feedback on this call, like, hey, why can't you fix your emojis on the slides? Feel free to fill this out for us. We would love to hear both good and bad, or if you want to suggest things you'd like to see us cover, or if they change the format, any of that kind of stuff, we'd love to hear about it. This is the community takeover, so we might as well give it back completely changed. Perfect. All right, and of course, thank you very much to all of our amazing presenters. Greatly appreciate all of you and everyone else for joining. We will have this posted within 24 hours to our YouTube channel, and you can be sure to check it out. And that's it for us. Wowee! Woo! Yay! Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.